Nippert Stadium in Cincinnati, one of the great venues under the lights at night. And this evening, the South Florida Bulls have made the trek from Tampa, trying to bounce back after back-to-back losses. Tonight, they take on one of the hottest teams in America, the Cincinnati Bearcats. It's the Nip at night, tonight under the lights in the American. ESPN College Football, presented by Dr. Pepper. A chilly night at Nippert Stadium in Cincinnati. In the American tonight, the USF Bulls at 7-2 take on the UC Bearcats. And a look at the standings show us that Cincinnati and USF still chasing UCF. But keep this in mind, both the Bearcats and the Bulls take on the Knights in the next 2 weeks. It's going to be a thrilling finish in the American, and it starts tonight.
Mr. Football from the state of Ohio, a guy who's accounted for half of the Bearcats' 28 rushing touchdowns on this young season. Not a guy that's going to blow you away with a ton of the measurables, but a good downhill runner for a program that's really trying to make their name up front. Coach Fickell wants big, physical offensive linemen, and in the 300 miles, as he's dubbed them, around Cincinnati and in the state of Ohio, he's got no shortage of those guys to draw on.
Cincinnati will get the ball to begin the game tonight. USF's Jake Stone will be kicking it off. Alden Knight, James Wiggin, the deep men for the Bearcats. And here we go, Nip at night. And the short kickoff return to the 22-yard line. And we are underway from Cincinnati. And your first chance to see one of the real electric young quarterbacks in the American, Desmond Ridder, who has come in and really made a name for himself for Bearcat fans.
Yeah, we talked to Charlie Strong and these USF coaches, and they really told us they believe Desmond Ridder is the difference for this Cincinnati team. You're not seeing a largely different offense, either personnel or schematically. The difference has been the production from their redshirt freshman quarterback.
He replaced Hayden Moore, who was a senior, and he has led UC to an 8-1 start. Ridder running after everyone was covered, and he gets ahead to about the 26-yard line on the first play of the game. That was Kirk Livingstone of the Bulls that made the tackle.
And you're going to see a lot of man-to-man defense tonight from South Florida, and a mobile quarterback is something that can hurt you. You get those defensive backs and linebackers with their backs turned going downfield. It makes for a lot of wide-open running lanes.
Bearcats keep it on the ground. Over the last couple of games, and USF fans know this, Mike, they've had a hard time stopping the run. That's an encouraging start here on the first two plays. Absolutely,
and they've had to move some bodies around. There's a lot of injuries here. We know Nico Sautel out, their starting linebacker, number 54. They moved Greg Reeves to linebacker. He was actually playing end for them and has been making that adjustment. And they're really trying to make sure they define his role at a spot he's unfamiliar with.
Yeah, Reeves is from Bradenton. He was a safety in high school, a defensive end in college, and now a middle linebacker. First throw for Ridder is incomplete, and the Bulls get a good start, a 3-and-out to start the game on the road tonight after they gave up a lot of points in the first half last week.
They did, and you saw, as we'll watch this all night, the decision on third down. South Florida, normally a team that brings a fair amount of pressure, that time opting for zone coverage, trying to make Ridder thread the needle, and ultimately it's the first punt of the night for Cincinnati.
And that's James Smith, the punted away. Tyree McCants is the return man for the USF Bulls. Australian rugby-style kicker with the left foot. And the fair catch called for and taken by McCants. And our first look tonight at the young man from Tampa, who will make his first start. Chris Oladokin. He's from Sickles High School. Athletic guy, can really run the football. Tell us about Oladokin.
Yeah, this is a guy they raved about his feet, said the arm is coming along. So tonight on offense, we may see some wrinkles reminiscent to what the South Florida team was used to with Quentin Flowers at quarterback, a guy who also spending some time in the Cincinnati area lately.
Oladokin in the pistol. That is Jordan Cronkrite off his right shoulder. And Cronkrite gets the game's first carry Tries to break it outside, and the Cincinnati defense will have nothing of it early. The young man, Jarrell White, making the play defensively from LaSalle High School right here in Cincinnati.
Jarrell White, a guy we're going to see a lot more of tonight. Perry Young, their star linebacker, a big energy guy for this defense, out with a knee injury after the Navy game.
2nd and 10 just underway. Glad you could be with us tonight on a very chilly night. Bearcats come with some late heat. Deep ball. A bit overthrown, but caught with one hand. A sensational grab. Bronson takes it the distance. Touchdown for the Bulls.
You are going to see this catch over and over again for the rest of the weekend.
Rysheem Bronson with the left hand on the first throw from Oladokin.
And you saw Tyrell Gilbert there in coverage, the guy playing nickel for them on the night. He's there stride for stride with him. Bronson just makes an unbelievable focus play.
Here's Weiss in to attempt the extra point, but flags first.
Offside. Defense number 2. Half the distance to the goal. Point after touchdown.
Tyrell Gilbert adding insult to injury after giving up that long touchdown, jumping off sides on the extra point attempt.
Weiss to add the PAT. What a tremendous start on the road. The extra point, though, is blocked. And it remains 6-0. That was Michael Pitts that got a hand on it. Let's watch Michael Bronson with the left hand, maybe pinning it on Gilbert's back. A tremendous play to start this game.
Unbelievable pickup by the offensive line, and then a great individual effort play. You see the coverage right here, but a catch like that will beat any coverage. And then, of course, in a game where we expect a lot of big plays, a blocked extra point could be the difference.
This is the American Conference on ESPN tonight from chilly Cincinnati, Ohio. Fireworks early on this Saturday night. A big touchdown has USF in the lead, 6-0 on this Saturday night. USF's Jake Stone's second kickoff of the game. And this is Wiggins on the kick return. And James Wiggins gets knocked down to about the 28-yard line. Well, Mr. Golick, tremendous start. Big touchdown early.
And a big play by a wide receiver, but an even better job up front by this offensive line. Watch the right guard, William Atterbury, and the running back, Jordan Conkrite, who gets all this credit for his great yards per carry and his rushing. But right here, sorting the middle linebacker twist on the blitz up front, giving their young quarterback, Chris Oladokin, time to deliver an absolute strike. And then Rysheem Bronson does the rest. Just perfect execution from start to finish on this one. Starting up front with Billy Atterbury. Got to have a Billy on the O-line.
He's from Clearwater, Florida. Cincinnati down 6-0 early, and that's an incomplete throw right into the dirt from Ritter. How about the psyche of USF? Everyone talked all week. It's going to be so cold up there in Cincinnati. They haven't played a whole lot of games in weather like this, but they come out, they get a 3-and-out, and they get a tremendous big play for their coach.
It's the perfect start you could have scripted, and we sat with Ronnie Hoggins, one of their defensive backs who's really played about 6 positions for them on defense, and he said after those last 2 games, we didn't bring the focus we needed, and I promised my team it wouldn't happen again.
2nd down to 10. Bearcats on the ground, and the truck. Michael Warren from Toledo's Central Catholic High School powers his way downfield. Kegler and Greg Reeves on the stop again for USF.
And it's not a complicated run game for either side. You're going to see a lot of inside zone from both of these teams that just want to try and move the bodies up front and give their running backs a seam. You see USF loading up the box, covering every offensive lineman with a D-line. 3rd down for UC. And that ball overthrown
Over the head of DeGuara, the tight end. Ritter saying, my bad, I had him.
And that's about the second pass on third down we've seen now from Ritter, 2 consecutive that have both sailed a little bit. Got to get the emotions in check at this point. A couple of big third downs. The first one, they drop back off. They play zone coverage. The second one, you get a little twist up front from the defensive line. So doing just enough to try and keep the redshirt freshman off balance.
Bulls are coming for the block. McCants calls for the fair catch. It goes over his head. Tremendous roll, and it's down on the 1. James Smith, the left-footed Aussie, downs it on the 1. Great punt. 64-yard punt. He got a great roll at the end, didn't he, Mike?
Well, you're getting a look right there at the nation's leader in net punting average on the season, and for good reason. And that's why punters and special teams units really value this stat, because it takes that collective effort. It's not only the punter, but it's your team's unit getting down there and making great plays like this to really get a fired up punter. And I think if we can all get out of there. Somewhere Pat McAfee is smiling wide right now, doing it for the brand. James Smith.
He's the Cincinnati punter. Both punters are Aussies tonight. James is a big 6'5" sophomore. So the Bulls, as a result of that punt, working deep out of their own end zone. And they're trying to run it out. Concrete on first down. Gets it out to about the 2-yard line.
And this Cincinnati defense, when they get in those 3-down looks, love to fire linebackers. And you're going to see Brian Wright, who a former prep quarterback out of Delaware, smart defensive player. They love bringing him up the middle and trying to get him advantageous matchups against guards that might not be used to seeing that kind of athleticism.
Oladokun out of his end zone, and he throws it behind the tight end, Wilcox, and it'll bring up a 3rd down play.
And this is smart by Sterling Gilbert, the offensive coordinator for USF. Cut down the line. You see a full line cut by the offensive line. Try and get the defense's hands down. Get a quick pass out to Mitchell Wilcox, who's a tight end that Charlie Strong and this staff love.
3rd and 9 for USF. Quarterback draw. And Oladokun trip, barely gets out of the end zone. Marquise Brown was waiting for him.
And this is one of the real difficulties when you're dealing with a quarterback that's getting in there for the first time this season and a young player. You see them trying to, on the road, use these silent counts, see if they can manipulate the defense, but some confusion on the count up front. You see Cronkite in the backfield not quite ready for that one, and it almost bites you, especially backed up in your own territory. Now a tight punt. Watch out for the block here from Cincinnati.
This is Trent Schneider punting from the very, very back of the end zone. He gets it away. Knight, the return man from inside the USF 40. Knight inside the 20, and the Bearcats are in business near the 18, but there is a flag on the play. That was Livingstone that made the tackle. Cincinnati, thanks to the punt that flipped the field, will have good field position. But first, let's hear the penalty first.
Personal foul, face mask, kicking team number 94. Half the distance to the goal from the end of the run. First down, Cincinnati.
And just a crushing penalty. You've already given up field position on this drive, but now making life a little bit easier. And you see diving to try and make a play. Easy call for the official, and now 1st and goal, starting from the 10-yard line for this UC offense that's trying to get back on track. Their defense giving them a great look at the end zone.
Desmond Ritter on 1st and goal. Fakes the handoff to Warren and gets knocked down back near the 11-yard line. USF's Ronnie Hoggins, his first tackle of the night.
Ronnie Hoggins, there's a guy with energy, and when we met with him last night in their hotel, they said the unquestioned leader of this defense that's seen guys go down around him, has stepped up, has played some dime linebacker for them. Not the biggest guy in the world, but tons of energy, ready to lead this group.
And smart, he plays everywhere. They call him the Swiss Army knife of the defense. He's very versatile for USF's defense. Second down and goal. Warren gets it down to near the 7-yard line. That was Reeves again, third tackle of this first quarter for Greg Reeves, the linebacker from the defensive line that has moved up because of the injury to Sawtell. Nico Sawtell, one of their key players, out again tonight. Third and goal. Ritter may have changed the play on third and goal. With 4 wideouts in the formation, Ritter to the end zone. Touchdown, Cincinnati. Leaping grab for Lewis.
For Khalil Lewis, you come back into this season, you see the only team in the American Athletic Conference returning your leading passer, leading rusher, and leading receiver. And wouldn't you know it, Hayden Moore, they opt for Desmond Ritter instead of him. Garrett Dokes, your leader in rushing from last year, a hip groin injury keeping him out. And Khalil Lewis, the last man standing, producing in a big way for this team this season.
Extra point puts Cincinnati into the lead. 7-6 Bearcats in a Firewike-filled first quarter. A big punt return leads to the touchdown run. Bearcats have the lead on a Saturday night at the Nip.
ESPN College Football is presented by Ice Cold Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville, and in part by Allstate, reminding you that football season is mayhem.
Great scene here before the game. Our national flag was delivered by Team Fast Tracks. That's a skydiving team from right here in Middletown, Ohio. That's Dan Paganini. He's the gentleman who had the honor of delivering Old Glory tonight on Veterans Day weekend. Great way to start things off here at the Nip.
Absolutely. Unfazed by the cold weather out here tonight.
The arm swinging kickoff coverage team from Cincinnati on the move as the kick comes back to USF. Here comes the return down the sidelines. Oh, we've got some fireworks tonight all the way to the 32-yard line for Knight. For Sanders, rather. Bentley Sanders with the kickoff return. 60 yards on the return.
Almost got to use the good night punt on this one. Fields a short kick, starts it up the middle, and then you get that wind to the outside, getting some guys out of position. A great block on the kicker right there, who wisely gets out of the way, but a hell of a job on the edge. Marquise Smith getting in the way and making the tackle to save the touchdown.
And so now Oladokin and USF start on the plus side of the field on the 33. And Oladokin on the ground runs ahead to near the 24-yard line. A 9-yard pickup on first down for the sophomore from Tampa. That was Jarrell White that brought him down.
Design quarterback run, get a pulling lineman out in front of him and follow your blocks. A good way to get the young quarterback in a rhythm after a less than successful last drive.
Oladokin getting his first career start, replacing the injured Blake Barnett, out with a shoulder injury tonight. If you're just joining us, that'll be enough for the first down. Ahead to the 18-yard line. Mitchell Wilcox with his first grab of the night.
And this is an offense that sees a lot of short passing, so not totally out of character, but Mitchell Wilcox, the Mackey Award candidate, a guy they should be looking to feed the ball to plenty.
Here's Johnny Ford, the 5'5" fire plug, and he gets ahead to about the 16-yard line where Jarrell White brings him down again. Johnny is all of 5'5" back there from Miami High School.
And a guy who wanted so desperately to go to the U, play in the school right in his backyard, was looking for anyone to give him a chance. And Charlie Strong said, we'll give you that chance. And especially in the last 5 games, it's paid off.
Oladokin to the air, and that one's incomplete on a short hop. Charlie, whether he's been at Texas or Louisville or now at USF, has really relied on kids from South Florida, in particular Dade County, the Miami area.
Absolutely, and now gets to recruit right in his own backyard in the state of Florida. A good job handpicking recruits and an absolutely incredible mentor, Charlie Strong, for these young men. We could have sat and talked with him for hours the other night, hearing him talk about the importance of being that father figure, that mentor to some of the kids who grow up without them in the areas that he's recruiting.
Oladokin has thrown for 1 touchdown already today, but before the snap here, he calls timeout before a pretty pivotal third down play.
USF takes their first charge time out of the half. Timeout on the field.
Bearcats leading 7-6, but the Bulls on the move at the Nippert. Prime time under the lights at Nippert Stadium in Cincinnati. A big third down play now for USF, trying to retake the lead with first-time starter Chris Oladokin at QB.
And down in the red zone, the field shrinks. Expect some pressure here on the young quarterback from Cincy.
Fakes the handoff to Ford and gets knocked down for a loss of 2 by Jarrell White.
We said Perry Young, the linebacker, who unfortunately was lost for the season with a knee injury against Navy, was going to mean opportunities for some of these backups to step up. And Jarrell White, with his sure tackle, you see him feather it on the backside, understands the re-option is going to be part of their game, and makes the sure tackle for a great stop on third down.
37-yard field goal attempt now for Kobe Weiss, who's 10 of 13 on the season. Trying to give the Bulls the lead, and he does. So the big kickoff return puts him up in great field position, and Weiss makes it 9-7 USF 8 minutes into the game tonight. All right, let's talk about what we've seen so far early, how USF has responded without its starting quarterback tonight. They lose Barnett with the injury, and they turn it over to Oladokin. What do you think so far?
Yeah, well, you've seen a bit of a pared down playbook outside of the shot play that we saw early in this game, which was just an unbelievable individual effort by Rysheem Bronson. It's been trying to get short passes to guys like Mitchell Wilcox, trying to establish the run game, albeit unsuccessfully. And that's really been the story on both sides right now. Neither run game, but advantageous situations created by great special teams plays on both sides. We saw great return there, a punt downed inside deep in USF territory to give UC's offense a chance, and then a punt return by them. It's all special teams through the early going of this game.
Stone's kickoffs have been short thus far, and that is the case again now. Wiggins from the 14-yard line. And he gets belted down on the 27. Well, kick off your Week 10 NFL Sunday with ESPN at 10 a.m. Eastern. Sam and the guys will have all the early breaking stories, injury updates, and preview each game right up to kickoff tomorrow. And our Monday night matchup has Odell Beckham Jr., Saquon Barkley, and the Giants in San Francisco to take on the 49ers. Coverage beginning 6 p.m. Monday night countdown served by Applebee's. Then the kickoff at 8:15 Eastern.
Nick Mullins starting a quarterback controversy in San Fran.
Yeah, have you been following that close?
Both teams doing a great job of shutting down what have been some pretty high-powered rushing attacks. I mean, we have a chance to see both Michael Warren on the Cincinnati side and Jordan Cronkite on the other side for USF go over 1,000 yards on the season tonight, and so far neither really able to get any traction.
One of USF's big concerns this week was stopping the run. That's been a problem the last couple of weeks for this USF team. They've given up some big plays on the ground. Here's Ritter on the move. And that'll be enough for the first down as Ritter steps out just shy of the 40-yard line. And in fact, we'll call it the 39 right at the USF bench. That's a heady play by Ritter. No one's open. Uses legs to move the sticks.
And this is what we talked about. You see the motion right there. He sees the defender going with him, knows it's man-to-man, so he knows if he gets out and no one's open, he's going to have some room to run, and he's more than capable of making that pay with his legs.
Ritter to the air on first down. And sacked for the first time tonight, back on the 35-yard line. That's Juwan Brown from Tampa. Jefferson High School, his first sack.
Great job containing Desmond Ritter in the pocket, and that's just a four-man rush. They're sitting back there, two high safeties. At this point, daring Cincinnati to run with the way that they've been stopping it, trying to force Desmond Ritter to make a tight window throw that so far he doesn't look comfortable.
On second and long, Warren on the ground gets a couple, but that's about it. That was Vincent Jackson. He's a senior defensive end from Tampa. One of 36 Tampa Bay natives play for USF. It's going to bring up a third and long, 3rd and 12 for Desmond Ritter and UC.
We've seen South Florida mix it up on the first couple of third downs, opting for zone coverage, and it looks like sitting back again.
Ritter to the air, throws it short. That's Lewis. And a great open field tackle for Mike Hampton, the cornerback on that side. USF's defense dynamite on that possession again.
And you saw a great job again, just a four-man rush, but on the inside, the two defensive tackles running a game here that springs Brandon Boyce, number 95, just enough pressure right up the middle. We know the stock line. Every quarterback hates pressure directly in their face. Forces an errant throw and another punt for Cincinnati.
James Smith kicking to Tyree McCants from the 12. And McCants knocked out just after the 12 and a late flag on the play. And the officials separate the kids in front of the USF sideline. And an injured Bearcat as well at the end of the play over there. That is Alec Pierce of Cincinnati down on the field along the sideline.
The freshman from Glen Ellen, Illinois, is a great special teams player for these guys right now. A late hit there. They're going to have to sort some things out right now. As we wait to see.
Well, they tend to him. We will step aside, sort out the penalty. The late hit apparently on this play on the punt return in Cincinnati. Alec Pierce of Cincinnati being helped off the field while we were away. The officials explained what happened. A personal foul penalty, a late hit. His own man actually clipped him. DeGuara was blocked in the back and he actually hit Pierce.
Yeah, the unnecessary roughness was called on number 23, Mozzie Wilkins, the corner for USF. He hits Josiah DeGuara into Alec Pierce and clips him right under the legs, and you see him being helped off, not able to put much pressure on. You see right here, DeGuara, big body in his own right, gets hit right into that left leg and takes him out there. And you saw he had trainers on both sides of him, not able to put a ton of weight on that. Can only hope the damage is minimal on that, and then he'll be okay to come back at some point. Again, a great special teams player for them, a young guy that they're certainly high.
Correction. After the play was over, dead ball foul, personal foul. Receiving team number 33. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
So it'll move the ball back half the distance to the goal. And USF will start with the ball and a 9-7 lead on the road.
And that's something that unfortunately both these teams are a little too used to. Two of the most penalized teams in all of college football. Can expect to see, in addition to The white jerseys and the black jerseys for Cincinnati, a lot of yellow on the field over the course of the night.
Coach Strong may not be happy with the call, but when he watches the film, he'll see the late hit that has moved the Bulls back to their own 11-yard line. Oladokin on first down, a quick throw to the right, and it's caught by the tight end, Mitchell Wilcox, his second catch of the game.
And you see Jarrell White there breaking on that route. They're going to have to get something towards the middle of the field or downfield, because Cincinnati's sensing they're going to be going short all night. They're going to start trying to break on some of these balls. And if the young quarterback's not careful, they might get hands on one sooner than later.
Play fake. And the throw to Bronson. And he's knocked down for no gain on the play by Wiggins.
James Wiggins, a guy they're very high on. Originally a Miami commit, a physical freak show that you'll see make explosive plays like that all night.
That ball through the hands of Bronson.
Oladokin's pass intended for number 6, Bronson, fell incomplete.
Wiggins had the coverage again. The Cincinnati coaching staff really high on him. They think eventually they already are hearing from the NFL people on him, that he's a guy that has a chance to play there.
And he's certainly got some clutch to him. 2 game-sealing interceptions on the season versus Ohio. And, of course, the game winner in overtime against SMU.
He's a South Florida kid playing for Cincinnati from Homestead, Florida, south of Miami. 2nd and 10 for Oladokin and the Bulls. Pressure forces him to run to the right, and he's slung out of bounds on the 21-yard line by Brian Wright.
Brian Wright, that's a big man moving fast. 6'3", 235. Absolutely flying.
Mike Linebacker from Newcastle, Delaware. He'll come out. They'll go with a nickel package now on 3rd down. Will the Bearcats.
And expect more pressure. That 3-down look coming back.
Here comes the blitz on 3rd down. The deep ball down the sidelines. Nearly caught again, but it's incomplete. Nearly another sensational one-handed grab. That time it was Clairvaux trying to haul it in with one paw. Cam Jeffries had the coverage.
And a great job putting it out there. You see, again, the pressure up front, bodies flying everywhere. And this USF offensive line getting just enough on all of these guys to sort it out. And there, the ball going to Stanley Clairvaux. Has a chance, can only get one hand on it. Has to be encouraging for the USF offensive staff to see Oladokin able to get the ball out there on a good spot.
Kind of a low snap. Schneider gets it away, but it is a short kick. And it will roll near the 40-yard line. And UC will start there. Well, let's take a look at what happened today in the world of college football with the DirecTV More for Your College Football Thing.
Hell of a slate tonight, Bill. In addition to the great game we got for you guys here, Notre Dame leads 6-0 over Florida State. Clemson and Boston College getting ready to square off.
What a big game in the ACC tonight. Who would have thought that it would be Boston College hosting game day in mid-November?
It's a team a lot of people talked about before the season. Could be a surprise in the ACC. A tough group on both lines of scrimmage.
The truck gets the handoff on 1st down, but some congestion on I-75 early for the truck here tonight in Cincinnati.
An incredible job by this South Florida defensive front, really stepping up to the challenge. This is a group that lost 3 guys to the NFL from last year's D-line, had a lot of production to replace.
Ritter, the young man from Louisville, over to Lewis. Breaks free and has the 1st down ahead to the Bulls' 44-yard line. Good throw and catch. It was Roberts, he and McGee making the tackle on another South Florida kid, Khalil Lewis from Miramar. Here's Warren. He gets down to near the 40-yard line. A 4-yard pickup on 1st down for Michael Warren.
And DeGuara, who's came into this game with 29 receptions on the year, you'll see him hipped in that backfield spot, leading up through on the backside of some of these runs, trying to really just carve out some natural creases in these defenses, especially while the Bulls are in this 4-down look.
Warren has a hold up the middle, and the first down ahead of the 30. They told us the more he gets the ball, the better he gets. Michael Warren needs to kind of get lathered up to get into the groove.
And this is great. You've been struggling with your zone game all night. So what do? Run something we haven't seen as often from Cincinnati. A little counter action to find a hole with Kyle Trout, your left guard, and Josiah DeGuara, your tight end.
Ritter on first down. Complete for another first down to the 19-yard line. Medeiros, his first grab of the game. And the Bearcats in business in the red zone.
Great throw by Ritter. You saw Medeiros just coming out of that break, and the ball was already on him. That's timing that started to get built up for a redshirt freshman who's still in his first season as a starter, but seeing the benefit of all the playing time and all the big game situations he's already been in.
First quarter is going to come to an end
before
the next play. It has been a big first quarter. Big plays, big special teams plays, and a 9-7 Bulls lead on the road. Nothing better than a Saturday night, nip at night, they call it in Southwest Ohio. It's a big night in the American under the lights on the Ohio River.
You either with me or against me, though.
Saturday night, Nippert Stadium in Cincinnati. We go to quarter number 2. ESPN College Football presented by Dr. Pepper in the American tonight. It's going to be a dramatic, exciting finish in the East Division of the American over these next couple of weeks. Cincinnati on first down. And a pass, gain of about 2 to DeGuara on first down. Hoggins makes the play.
You've seen both of these teams really struggling. 35 rush yards so far for Cincinnati, 8 for South Florida. But specifically for the Bearcats, a lot of these DNs from South Florida crashing down on the backside, not honoring the quarterback on these read runs. Would like to see Desmond Ritter keep one of these just to force the backside of that defense to have to hesitate for a second longer.
Ritter hit as he throws, but delivers it to Lewis nonetheless. Greg Reeves got a clean shot on him, didn't he?
You talk about defining a role for Greg Reeves. Again, the end-turned linebacker because of injury. They're defining a role all right. You see them covering down the D lineman, getting him in a rush position he's familiar with, and letting him get a free shot on the quarterback, who stands and delivers a nice strike to put them in a more manageable third down.
It'll be 3rd and 4. The Bulls can get a first down on the 9-yard line. Or the Bearcats, I should say. Ritter has a man wide open. Broken coverage. Touchdown, Cincinnati. Michael Warren out of the backfield, left all alone.
Touchdown, Bearcats. On a 13-yard pass play from Desmond Ritter.
Great response from Cincinnati. The ground game is not there. And I think we see coming from the bottom of the screen here, it looked like Bruno LaBelle, one of their tight ends, coming inside, getting a little piece of the defender, allowing that outbreaking route to get enough space for Ritter to deliver a strike. And I think they're going to take a look.
Previous play of a touchdown is under further review.
They're going to see if Warren did indeed break the plane as he went diving into the end zone. What happened on this play? How did he get so wide open here, Mike?
Well, you see the wheel route coming right there. You see the receiver. It looked like Bruno LaBelle, number 87, their tight end, coming inside, and you see that inside-out coverage there. Anytime you've got traffic going in that opposite direction, all it takes is the defender having to bubble just a bit. And not sure what they're looking at here. He is up, over, and in the air, and it looked like inside the pylon. And that's the benefit. You see guys sometimes going towards the pylon with that outside arm, and all of a sudden when that knee goes out of bounds, that ball ends up outside. Warren smartly has it in his inside hand, goes over the inside of that pylon. That should be an easy call.
If it stands, it will be Warren's first career receiving touchdown.
After further review, the ruling in the field stands. It is a touchdown.
And Cincinnati retakes the lead. And Warren shows he's got some high flying ability too. The truck goes airborne for 6. Now Cole Smith in to attempt the extra point.
Cole Smith was
14-9 the score.
The ground game not working for the Bearcats in the early going. That's fine. We'll take Mr. Football from Ohio and give him some airmail here. First touchdown grab for Michael Warren.
Well, this season, for every field goal and extra point made by participating universities, Allstate will make a contribution to the university's general scholarship fund. Thank you, Allstate. Bearcats retake the lead. Ritter touchdown pass to Warren, and now USF will get the ball back. These Cincinnati kids with their pendulum arm swing in unison on their kick coverage team. It's another really short kickoff. That's a fair catch called for. You bet. And they'll start at the 25. All right, let's check in right now with Chris Carter in the studio for an update. Chris? All right, Chris, thanks. Thriller there. Meanwhile, here a change at quarterback. Brett Keane, an Ohio kid, played a couple of years in high school in Fort Lauderdale and then won a state championship for his team here in Ohio. His first action of the night, Keane throws to Wilcox for his first completion. You know, the last time that Keane was playing any significant football, it was here in this state. He led his high school to the state championship up in Columbus at Ohio Stadium.
A St. Edward's guy, a school certainly familiar with winning, and a familiar portion of this offense. No matter who's in a quarterback, the ball seems to find its way to 89 Mitchell Wilcox.
Keane is just 3 of 7 passing this season. They told us that with Barnett out, they would give Oladokin the first shot tonight and then let Keane come in. He's a big kid, solid at 221. 3rd down and 1 for Keane and the Bulls.
Looking to the sideline, changing it up here. They're used to Cincinnati heating them up on 3rd down. Let's see what they change and respond to.
That's little Johnny Ford, and he's got the first down ahead of the 40-yard line. And when I say little, he is just 5'5". Cincinnati might have a truck in the backfield. USF has a tiny little Ford Focus back there.
We're busting out the car puns early, and for good reason, but we talk about that height. It can sometimes be an advantage, difficult for the defense to see behind a pretty large offensive line.
Keane kept that alive and then connects with Wilcox down the sideline for a first down. Little ad-libbing for the quarterback.
And we see already doing a better job getting the ball downfield. And Wilcox, this is a guy that Charlie Strong was talking about to whoever would listen this offseason here. And for good reason. Was out last week with an ankle, but a big presence back on the field for them, helping both these young quarterbacks.
There goes Ford again, and he breaks a tackle and stays on his feet. Charlie Strong told us, you know, he's 5'5", but he's hard to tackle. People have a hard time getting low on him.
And on that first run, you saw one of the big advantages for Ford. He's so quick that he can take a straight line like he's going up the middle, but when he puts that foot in the ground and bounces out, you've got defenders out of position and a guy who's fast enough to get by all of them on the edge and break some tackles on the inside if you're not careful.
Play fake, and Keane taking a deep shot. Touchdown! What a leaping grab, and the Bulls retake the lead. a grab for Wilcox.
Mitchell Wilcox, big and physical. When you see him split out in the slot, it's almost always something going deep into the middle. You see the linebacker trying to cover him. Malik Clements falls down on the route, and then a great diving catch, turns his body and gets under it. That is a clinic. A linebacker on Mitchell Wilcox is going to be good night for them all day, regardless of who's under center.
Weiss in to attempt the PAT. You'll recall Cincinnati blocked the first one. This one is good. Off the bench, Brett Keane, who led a team to a state title as a high school player in this state, says, I can throw it in these chilly temperatures. He gives USF the lead tonight here at Cincinnati. And it's Brett Keane's touchdown has USF back on top of Cincinnati, 16-14. The nip at night. And off the bench, Keane very impressive, throwing the go-ahead touchdown to diving tight end Mitchell Wilcox. On the kick return, UC will get the ball back, and we'll have a chance to look at Desmond Ritter once again, who was dynamic on the last possession for Cincinnati. Our Jared Drive recap the last time the Bearcats had the ball. And Ritter was perfect, 5 for 5.
And you saw him getting out on the run, threatening the edge, but also standing in and making some impressive throws. Saw him take a couple of shots as this USF defense has been up to the task. But there we've seen on both sides man coverage for some of the big skill players, the running backs, the tight ends. Advantageous matchups for both of these offenses as the run game has been stifled on each side.
Ritter has lots of room to run here. He's got the first down, and he's into USF territory. They'll mark him down on the 47-yard line. 20-yard run for Ritter.
And a great job by Kyle Trout and Jakari Robinson, the center and left guard there, leading the charge. A nice soft look in the middle of this defense, taking advantage of your quarterback's legs.
This is McClellan. Charles McClellan from Homerville, Georgia, brought down by Kirk Livingstone. It's a gain of 5. That, by the way, was the biggest gain of the night against USF, the first explosive play that Charlie Strong's team has allowed.
And just like we said, you have to sometimes get your quarterback involved in that. You see the running back motion out of the backfield, get the defense's eyes somewhere else, make them think just a second longer.
2nd and 5 for UC. Here's Ritter. He'll have the first down, and he's out of bounds inside the 30-yard line. Down to the 28-yard line. 2 strong runs on this possession for the Louisville native Des Ritter.
Apparently it's ask and you shall receive in this booth. We said we need a quarterback keep on one of these reads. You saw the end there, Josh Black crashing down. And then you bring the tight end out, Jaguara, to lead block in front of him, a guy who's physical and more than capable.
McClellan on first down gets about 1.5 yards.
And Bill, all that does, if you're the backside of that defense, is now it makes you think a second longer. All right, I've seen him do it. We've gotten beat. That's actually where some of their best production has come now in the run game with the quarterback on these 2 drives. Now that backside end and linebackers hold just a little bit longer. And maybe a big run, a 10, a 15-yarder, one of those explosive plays for Michael Warr in your bell cow.
Here comes Jackson in motion. And they throw it to him. He started in, comes back out, makes the catch, and he's knocked down near the 26-yard line.
Great effort on defense and creative use of Jackson. He's a freshman, a potential big play guy. Motion him into the backfield and then fly out there. You saw USF bring a guy off the edge, try and counteract that pressure, what almost amounts to a screen out of the backfield. But a stellar defensive effort. And now a 3rd and long. See if USF finally decides to dial up some pressure on this drive.
Michael Warren is back in the game next to Ritter. He lets it go to the far side, and that's very near the first down, but I think just short. Hampton made the catch. The coverage rather on the Geddes reception, but Mike, he is shy of the first down is Geddes.
And let's keep it moving. You see them bringing in Bruno LaBelle, their hammer. Absolutely go for it on this fourth down. This is going to be a shootout. We've already seen it, a back and forth affair. I love this call from offensive coordinator Mike Denbrock. You want to build your program around the offensive line, around Mr. Football from the state of Ohio in your backfield. You hand him the ball off and you let him get that tough yard.
But first, Coach Fickell and the Bearcats are going to call a timeout.
Takes the first charge timeout of the half.
And
this
we
is
will
a 30-second timeout.
So Cincinnati calls the timeout with 8:28 to play. And you're right, it is a game that does not have the look of a 22-20 final. It's going to take 30-something points to win tonight.
And it makes you think, how big could that missed point after attempt, that block PAT that Cincinnati had on the first USF score, how big could that look at the end of this game right now as we see that 2-point margin? But for Cincinnati, I don't think there's any question. You started to get your run game rolling. Your quarterback's been involved. But make no mistake, Michael Warren is the guy they want to keep feeding. Eventually, he's going to wear you down as this game goes along.
There's Coach Denbrock, who you know from your Notre Dame days, and they've been very consistent in their messaging. We are a program built about offensive line play.
And we talked to Mike Denbrock yesterday. He said this offseason, these kids finally stopped resisting, and we've seen the results.
They're going to go Wildcat and a direct snap. The truck up the gut. Powering his way with those legs. He's got the first down all by himself. The truck had to get it in low gear that time.
And you see left tackle Dino Boyd, the transfer from Rhode Island, right there with him every step of the way. No frills about this. It's our big guys against your big bodies. And you see that extra effort from Warren, from Boyd, and that sideline responded in kind. That's the kind of thing that can spur you on in a game this close.
First down for Ritter and the Bearcats. Warren again. Makes a nice little cut to the inside. They called the timeout before that play. Somewhere along the line they said, let's run it now, Coach, right?
Exactly, and I wouldn't be shocked if some of your better players said, you know what, Coach, put it in my hand, especially Michael Warren, a guy who's been so important for them. But again, Coach Denbrock getting a little creative. You're never sure in those situations. You're trying to draw the defense offside. You motion the quarterback out. A creative enough wrinkle to let them just go and be big people. Fires up a former offensive lineman.
Warren will get a breather, a well-deserved one. He's got 10 carries. He's got a touchdown reception. Charles McClellan back in the game now, off the left shoulder of Ritter. Ritter has room to run to the right. Throws it away. South Florida coaches unhappy with that, but
there's no
got to
foul
be
for
on the line of
attempts
scrimmage.
The quarterback was
A
out
good
of the
play by
pocket.
him. It'll set up a third down and 9.
Third down.
And you saw the run games rolling now. Try and set up a little play action off of that look. But South Florida has caused just enough pressure up front to move him off the spot. A good job by Ritter as he grows and matures as a quarterback. The one thing you'll start to see is when the play is over, and maybe get rid of that ball a half second sooner. Avoid taking one of those shots. And preserve. Only so many body blows a quarterback can take.
10th play of the drive as Cincinnati looks to retake the lead on its home field. They're in zone, but they get pressure. Ball is loose. Bearcats fall on it. That was Pinckney that made the play.
Great play by Jakari Robinson getting on that ball, but you look up front again and it's that tackle game inside. Cincinnati's interior line really having difficulty. That time it's Pinckney getting loose, but that's all they're doing on a lot of these third downs. There's no added player coming to bring pressure. They're only rushing 4, and they're counting on that small wrinkle to confuse the Cincinnati offensive line. And one thing you're told as an O-lineman, if you don't block it early, they're going to keep throwing it at you until you do.
Freshman Cole Smith trying to give the Bearcats the lead, but he misses. Wide right. And the score remains the Bulls 16, the Bearcats 14 on a misfire by the kicker. It's a chilly night in Cincinnati, currently 30 degrees. Over the years, UCF, or I should say USF, has played just 5 games when the temperature was below 40. They are just 1-4 when it's cold like this. And it is getting colder as the evening progresses.
Temperature starting to drop, but Brett Keane played some of his high school football in Ohio at St. Edwards. More than used to this weather.
Keane on first down will take a heavy hit. Ball popped free. Keane gets to his feet. Oh, did he get socked on this play?
He's mobile enough to make it work, but like we just talked about with Ritter, part of the things about a young quarterback is you're used to playing in high school against guys that you are bigger and faster and stronger than. The bodies move a little faster around here.
They're calling that an incomplete pass.
You saw
notice he threw the ball just before he went out of bounds, and so 2nd and 10.
Got to do that a little bit earlier and don't get yourself blown up. In a game where you're already down your starting quarterback.
Keane connects to the near side to McCants. Wiggins makes the play defensively. It'll bring up a 3rd down now for USF.
We asked Sterling Gilbert, what kind of balance do you look for in this offense? Run, pass. And he gave him a refreshingly candid answer. He said, we're more focused on who are the guys we want to get the ball and how often. And Tyree McCants is one of those weapons. Comes into this game with 51 career receptions, 6th all-time for single season in USF history.
Yeah, you'd have that sense that McCants would be the guy to catch it if they needed a big grab. He was the intended receiver there, but the ball overthrown. And again, Wiggins had the coverage on the play. It'll bring up a 4th down.
And McCants is essentially a fullback playing slot receiver. 5'11", 240. I checked the media guide 8 or 10 times to make sure it wasn't a typo. But he can move out in space. This is a guy who 3rd all-time in career receiving yards at the school already coming into this game. 4th all-time in receptions and 3rd all-time in touchdowns. Great production, but that time James Wiggins, an incredible athlete with him step per step, never had a chance.
Here's Trent Schneider with the kick to Knight. And again, it's a short punt. And it goes out of bounds to the 41-yard line. I said it's going to be a fun month for fans of American Conference football. Coming down the stretch, UCF continues to lead the East, but everybody's in high-speed pursuit of them, including Temple, Cincinnati, and USF, and they all play each other here in the next couple of weeks.
South Florida looking up at those 3 teams, but play all of them down the stretch of this season. Going to have a chance to make their case in this conference. And UCF, Cincinnati, South Florida, these are teams we've traditionally seen do well in the group of 5, all of whom are looking at the College Football Playoff Committee like, when are we going to get some respect in this conversation?
Ritter on first down, hands it off to Warren. And he got about 7 yards on the play. And, you know, it's not just UCF's ranking in the College Football Playoff. It's also where might a 2nd Atlantic team fit in a New Year's Six Bowl.
Exactly. The highest ranked group of 5 team gets that nod. And that's part of what's on the line.
Over the years, the teams from the group of 5 have done particularly well. In fact, since the College Football Playoff was put into effect, you can see a group of 5 team has won 3 of the 4 years. Here's Warren. He'll get the first down on 3rd and short.
To show up there and play who's on the field, and every chance these guys get, they show we deserve to be a part of this. These 2 teams want their say in it as well.
From the 46, Ritter in trouble, and he's sacked for the 2nd time. That was Kevin Bronson, the senior from Delray Beach, with the sack.
4-man rush, just a great individual win going up against left guard Kyle Trout, who's had a solid game in the run so far tonight. but that time you're going to watch right here on the left side of the line. The big man Bronson just getting a hand swipe there, overextended at left guard. I was a little too familiar with that scenario.
Yeah?
A little too familiar. Some flashbacks watching that scene.
You've been there, right?
That's the lookout block.
Lewis goes in motion. It's 2nd down and 18. And they keep it on the ground to Charles McClellan. He gets about 5 of it back. They'll bring up a 3rd and long now for the Bearcats as we approach the final 3 minutes now of this first half. That was another tackle for Greg Reeves, by the way, of South Florida defense. He has been all over the field tonight, again playing in place of that Mike linebacker Nico Sautel, who's been out.
Greg Reeves just started Friends on Netflix, hoping to burn through all 10 seasons. A worthy cause.
Kids today, you can do that in about a week, right? Watch the whole series. 3rd down and a deep shot. That's incomplete.
That is great coverage by Ronnie Hoggins, the guy we talked to yesterday. Said he made a promise that focus wasn't going to be an issue for this defense anymore, not on my watch. The senior player there running stride for stride, looking back, has every bit of a right to that ball as Rashad Menderes. Turns around, goes to make a play. All good all the way down, making good on his promise. Big 3rd down right there. That sack really setting Cincinnati back, getting them off schedule.
James Smith back to punt it away to Tyree McCants. We have a timeout taken before the snap.
Flag
Prior
down.
to the snap, false start. Offense number 82. 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
And it'll move it back 5. They'll have to do it again.
And this is an area where Cincinnati has really had the edge on the night. Special teams play had been in their favor so far, especially this punt unit. We mentioned the #1 net punting unit in the nation. Getting backed up a little bit more, and this is a problem for both teams, both heavily penalized groups.
So Smith will kick it to McCants again. And McCants on the 15 takes it there. And we will step aside. Bulls with the lead. 2.5 minutes to play first half. Well, tomorrow is Veterans Day, so it's fitting that we have the Army Cadets squaring off against Coach K's 4th-ranked Blue Devils at Cameron Indoor Stadium, beginning at 1 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app, so you can watch it anywhere. Did you watch Duke in its debut against UK?
I mean, how could I not? The House of Highlights phenom himself, Zion Williamson. Good Lord. Bunch of #1 picks running around on the same team. Feels like Alabama football.
Good luck guarding those guys. That ball's deflected and incomplete.
King's pass intended for Mitchell Wilcox was incomplete.
So Keene has come in, and other than the hit that he, well, let himself get exposed to take, he's done a pretty good job.
And that's the biggest coaching point, I think, if you're Sterling Gilbert and the staff on the sideline now, is we're already down our starter. We can't have you taking more hits. I think Brett Keene has come in and looked the better of the two so far.
Flags before the 2nd down play. Let's take another look at the hit. First, the
False
penalty.
start. Offense number 84. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Well, Keene's doing everything he can to help his team win, but this is probably a play that they don't like on the sideline.
Yeah, and this is just one of those plays as a guy who hasn't played a lot, and we mentioned you guys come in. Some of your last real action was in high school. You're still used to being better and stronger. The game speed ticks up a notch. And at this point, you cannot afford for another quarterback to go down at a position you're already thin at right now, especially for guys performing well.
Another flag. The whistles have already killed this play. It's another procedure penalty against USF.
Prior to the snap, false start. Offense number 84. 5-yard penalty, Second down.
Randall St. Felix, a receiver, took off before the snap. They're going the wrong way at a time where, with Cincinnati having 2 timeouts left, tough situation here.
Call it hidden yardage, the field position battle that right now Cincinnati is absolutely dominating. But we mentioned it, 118th in the country in penalty yards per game, averaging just over 75 yards in the opposite direction as USF on the year.
Second and 20. Keene out of the end zone. A deep shot, and it's overthrown. Boy, for a moment there, I thought he was going to connect with Solomon.
Don't have a lot of third and a country mile calls on the play sheet for Sterling Gilbert, but that time, again, you see James Wiggins showing up all over the field. Bruce Feldman puts out his list of freak shows, college athletes that jump off the page. How's a 405 bench, 675-pound squat, and a 37-inch vertical sound? Freaky enough for you, Bill?
No doubt. Well, that's why he'll get paid to play this game someday.
Yes.
Somewhere.
He's ready, as we'd say.
Third and 20. Keene hands it off to Ford. Johnny Ford.
Johnny Ford took the handoff for USF.
He didn't get the first down, but he had everybody in this stadium gasping, didn't he? All 5'5" of them.
He's a guy that's got that sort of burst. In the last 5 games, Johnny Ford averaging 8.6 yards per carry. And how about this? Averaging a touchdown every 6 carries. That's the kind of explosiveness there, but you sit back, you play coverage, and you come up and make a tackle. It's an easy out for the defense. And now your offense is going to get the ball back. 2 timeouts with probably about a minute and a half, maybe a little under.
Yeah, a good punt return here, and they could be in field goal range in a hurry. That's a loose football. And the Bulls have it. With 1:25 to play, a big turnover, and Reeves came away with it. It's the first turnover of the game, and it comes at a catastrophic time for Cincinnati.
Puts his foot in the ground. And then coming around the side, Khalid McGee gets the strip, just punches it out. Moved from safety to linebacker, and that time making the great special teams play there. Just coming around a tightly contested punt return that, you know, in hindsight, you could say maybe should have been a fair catch, but trying to make your play for your team go sideways.
2 timeouts left for Keene and the Bulls. But first, a deep shot. Incomplete. There was some contact down there. The pass intended for Solomon.
Boy, I thought they were going to get Kobe
Bryant.
At it. I thought they were going to get Kobe Bryant with that arm right there. And South Florida, again, I'm interested if Cincinnati's going to mix up the pressures a little bit here, because they bring that same look, trying to stunt the linebackers in the middle. And right there, you just see that arm. I thought for sure that's a missed call.
That's a foul on Kobe Bryant, and yes, he is named after the Laker great, Kobe Bryant. Parents were big Lakers fans and Kobe fans, and his older brother Christian played up at Ohio State for Coach Fickell. On second down, the Bulls keep it on the ground. Fitz making the tackle to bring up a 3rd and 6.
Big play. You need a conversion here. I'd be looking at Tyree McCants in the slot near the top of the formation.
They're going to call a timeout.
USF takes their second charge timeout of the
left.
half. This is the 30-second timeout.
They have 1 timeout remaining with 58 seconds to play. USF, which has dropped 2 straight at Houston, at home to Tulane, trying to bounce back at a very, very tough place. Coming up at the half, Chris Potter, Coach Jim Mora, and Emmanuel Acho will have our halftime show, the Bedlam Thriller. Scores from around the country, including top 10 games in progress, and our no huddle highlights. That's all straight ahead.
A happy birthday to Emmanuel Acho.
Today?
Heard it's a birthday. Was watching them earlier. Checking it out. We got a birthday boy in the studio for halftime.
Nice.
Having a hell of a day. Expect pressure here from Cincinnati on 3rd down. Try and force a quick throw.
Keene to the air, and he throws it away.
Kamoni fits that time. Getting the pressure. Getting a shot on the quarterback to end the play, forces the errant throw. Neither team responding overly well in the 2-minute situations here right now. But Cincinnati still with 2 of those timeouts. South Florida going to try and pin them deep, but they'll have a shot with it with under a minute to play here before the half.
Schneider kicking to Alden Knight. Cincinnati leaves its regular defense in. They're not going to get burned with a fake punt here on 4th and 5. That snap actually short hopped Schneider. But he kicks it inside the 10. And it'll roll dead inside the 5.
Something about this end of the field. That ball sticking to the Velcro down there by the goal line is now Cincinnati will start backed up.
Well, you know, Mike, you can stream college football all season long on ESPN Plus. Start your free trial today by downloading the ESPN app or by visiting ESPNplus.com. I know out there you've got your phone in your hand watching us tonight. You've got your phone in your hand. Download the app right now. It's free.
Check it out. Go download the app. Plenty of great content on there. I watch Peyton Manning break down football plays. Always Late with Katie Nolan. There's plenty of good stuff in there.
41 seconds to go. Cincinnati playing it safe with Warren. Breaks several tackles. Warren has the first down out to the 14-yard line.
First down, Bearcats.
That run right there is exactly who Michael Warren is. Exactly what this team wants to be. Is a smash mouth team. He's just spinning. He's keeping his legs churning. Trying to make a play for this team. It looks like they're content to go into halftime down 2 points. Backed up a little bit too far, and especially after the turnover on that last punt return. Not going to risk giving the ball back to South Florida in the short field.
And Coach Fickell says, boys, that's enough. Fireworks early. Solid defense in the second quarter. South Florida with a 2-point lead, 16-14, and under Coach Strong, the Bulls have been dynamite, 12-1 when leading at the half since Charlie Strong arrived in Tampa. At the break, his Bulls are up by 2. ESPN College Football presented by Dr. Pepper. Saturday night in Cincinnati in the American Conference. And what a ball game we've got tonight. At the break, USF a 2-point lead over the Bearcats, 16-14. Back in the booth, Bill Roth alongside Mike Golick. Heck of a football game. Some big plays early. What a night we have tonight in Cincinnati.
And on a night where USF, we found out, was going to be without their starting quarterback in Blake Barnett, a guy who was on pace to have the first 3,000-yard season in school history. And all we've seen from these backup quarterbacks is production. Chris Oladokun gets the start. Again, Barnett you see in street clothes to start the night. But Oladokun connecting early on with this one. Rasheem Bronson, the unbelievable effort play, picking it off the defender's back and taking it for the long score to set the tone. But we heard we'd see both of these quarterbacks tonight. And we saw Breen coming into this game. The long pass to Mitchell Wilcox, the stud tight end who's been getting looks early and often from both of these players.
Now, we knew what Cincinnati was going to try to do, and that was to get the ball to the truck, but here they threw it to him.
Michael Warren's first career receiving touchdown, a guy who, as they tried to establish that run early, was having some difficulty. So they said, you know what, we'll get you matched up in man coverage, we'll throw the wheel route, and all will be good right now. So South Florida and Cincinnati both with something to say in the American League East right now, and both putting on a show early in this one.
I think what we've seen tonight out of USF is a team that had lost 2 ball games in a row, and you kind of wondered where they would be mentally coming into this ball game tonight, right, Mike? Because, you know, in a way, Houston beat them twice, right?
That was what we heard from Coach Strong and company, as they felt like they let that loss affect them too much. And we talked to some of their players, and there seemed to be a renewed focus. They all, as happens after a couple of losses, talked at length about how great they felt in practice this week, but we're actually seeing some of that start to pay off. If they can just keep the penalties down, they've shown they've got enough big playability on offense to stay in this game.
Bulls will start with the ball, a short kickoff to begin the second half, and a good hit by the Bearcats special teamers. And thus, the Bulls will start with the ball and a 2-point lead, and Who's going to be the QB to start the second half? It's going to be Oladoka. He started the game, and he will start this third quarter as well for USF.
I thought, based on what we had seen from Brett Keane, and we heard both of these quarterbacks were going to get time. It wasn't going to be a set series thing. I thought Brett Keane just looked to be in more command of this offense, looked more confident throwing the ball downfield. I understand that first play seemed like it's in Oladokan's favor, but outside of that shot, it's been nothing but short routes for him.
First play of the second half. They keep it on the ground and a spinning move by Cronkright. And he's near the 30-yard line. He got about 9 yards on the first down run. Did this junior from Miami and the former Florida Gator.
Cronkright, who's on the verge of 1,000 yards for this season himself, only 2 yards in the first half. Breaking his first big run there, following it up with a second one. Both of these teams in the second half had been working hard to establish the ground game. It wasn't working inside. Let's see if some of these outside perimeter runs start hitting for both teams.
Injured Bearcat after the second Cronkright run as White is down. We'll step aside. Right back in Cincinnati after this. Former Florida Gator Jordan Cronkright carrying the ball twice to start this third quarter for USF. On the second one, watch what happens to White here. Hurts his legs and was helped off the field here.
It's the last thing you want to see if you're Cincinnati. Already thin at linebacker. White filling in for the injured Perry Young, who tore his knee against Navy last week.
Oladoka to throw it on first down. Taking a deep shot into double coverage, and it's incomplete.
Great effort play by Cam Jeffries there, coming off it. You got two receivers way too close to each other. You see the motion. Lets Oladoka know you've got zone coverage. Looks over to his left, but you got two receivers in that area, so Cam Jeffries can come off whoever he's looking at and try and make a play on the ball. You're giving an extra defender a chance to make a play.
Johnny Ford leaves, and Cronkright will stay in the game on second down and 10 off the left hip now. He takes the handoff. Cronkright, can he make one man miss? Another terrific open field tackle by Malik Clements. Senior out of GW High School in Danville, Virginia. High school that has turned out so many terrific players over the years on the Virginia-North Carolina border.
And you see the rushing wasn't successful up the gut, so we've seen a concerted effort from South Florida to try and get to the perimeter. Now third and long for Cronkright. Pressure coming up the middle. And you see they got Michael Pitts, the D-end, off the ball, going to try and get him matched up on a running back.
Here comes the heat. They pick it up and they hit him as he throws, and it's nearly picked.
It's a really nice blitz design by Marcus Freeman, the defensive coordinator. You get your linebacker up on the line of scrimmage, and as the offensive line, you take the first guy that's coming. You exchange. The running back's got time to make you right. The problem is that guy rushing is normally your defensive end, and Michael Pitts, great energy guy off the ball, gets a shot on that throwing arm of Oladoka, and now you get ready to punt.
From Sydney, Australia, Trent Schneider kicks it high through the chilly Ohio sky. A fair catch called for by Knight. And Cincinnati will come back out with Desmond Ritter, young man from St. X in Louisville, Kentucky. You know, as a kid, he was a University of Louisville basketball fan. And now he has changed allegiances for sure. He's a UC Bearcat footballer.
You start to grow up in the Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky area, and the allegiances can kind of get muddied around here, but no mistaking it now. The St. X product really got going in the first half when they got him going with his legs. A draw play, a keeper on one of these zone reads, and that's what I want to see more of. Involving the quarterback in these zone read plays, because South Florida on the other side had run a lot of these jam fronts to try and stop your traditional rushing attack.
First play of the third quarter, Ritter fakes the handoff, going to run to the near sideline. And no gain on the play.
We talked to Mike Denbrock, the offensive coordinator, And one thing he mentioned is we wanted to get more perimeter runs involved. Well, what these bootleg plays end up turning into are perimeter runs. You've got DeGuara, the tight end, out in front of him. He sees this play's taking too long. He turns around, fits up his man, and allows them to at least get back to the line of scrimmage. Don't go backwards.
Why is it hard for teams that run out of the shotgun like UC does to get a good perimeter running game? What is it just systemically about that?
It's the rushing angles. Where the running back is lined up, it makes it difficult to get going in that direction, going downhill, because you're squared up with the line trying to take that handoff in the mesh point. Your body's naturally pointed downhill. So in this situation, we see again Desmond Ridder eyeing that backside, and 55 Josh Black has been crashing down on that running play all night. Desmond Ridder's going to have room on these keepers if he can keep it down.
They got about a yard to go on third down now. Ridder hands this one off, and Warren has the first down, but not by much. Got it by a yard, ahead to the 34-yard line.
And we see number 4, Greg Reeves, down on the ground for them on defense. That's not good. A guy who they said their best defensive player.
Reeves is from Manatee High School in Bradenton, and a young man that has been huge, especially with the injury to Nico Sautel. He's been playing all over the field. A defensive end, linebacker. Remember, he played safety in high school, and he is probably the one guy, he's their leading tackler tonight, the one guy that the Bulls can least afford to lose.
With your starting linebacker out, they had a choice to make, and they said Greg Reeves is a football player at his core, and he's a guy that we trust to make plays on this defense. We want to put him at a position where he's going to have the most opportunities to make plays and affect this game. As we see him jogging off now under his own power, it's encouraging for this South Florida defense that's already seen so much turnover, losing guys to the NFL from last year, losing a lot of guys to injury in the last couple of weeks. You're trying to get some momentum back tonight, and that's the kind of stuff that can really deflate a unit.
They'll bring Kirsten Johnson in to play that Mike linebacker spot now. He would be their third linebacker, number 34. And he got a hand on Warren, who was running the football there. Did Johnson, and it'll be second down. This is the time of year every college football team has attrition, right? We're down the stretch here, middle of November.
Usually the best teams are the ones that manage to stay healthy, and some of that's a skill. It's how you condition, it's how you take care of your bodies during the season. But some of these injuries are hard to avoid, and it can derail a season through no fault of a lot of these guys.
Johnson's out of Jacksonville, played at Lee High School there. Here's a penalty before the play.
False start. Offense number 75. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Chris Ferguson, the offensive lineman who's from the Bahamas. The Bearcats have several players on their offensive line that have had very curious routes to get here.
The island of misfit toys, they call this group.
Second and 15, and Ridder takes off ahead to about the 43-yard line. So who are these guys up front for the University of Cincinnati that are blocking?
It's an interesting group. You've got a couple of transfers. Kyle Trout, the left guard from Ohio State. Dino Boyd, the left tackle, I think is a really solid player, especially in pass protection, from Rhode Island. Jakari Robinson taking over for Derek Campbell, the leader of this group. And then I love this, Morgan James, the right guard, former pro hockey player.
In the Southern Professional Hockey League, a star for the Louisiana Ice Gators. There goes Warren. Warren to the house. Touchdown, Cincinnati. It puts him over 1,000 yards for the year and puts Cincinnati back in the lead.
Great patience by the running back and a great job by the right tackle, number 75 here. This is what I love on his own play. You get turned around, but stay active. Keep moving down the field. And he gets just enough of Chris Barr, the defensive back, to help spring the end of this run. Just keep working, keep grinding. That's what this run game is built on, and that's the identity that Michael Warren creates for this team with the unit up front. You stick with it long enough, and he always says, I get stronger as the game goes on, showing it off right there.
1,000-yard rusher, former Mr. Football from Toledo in the state of Ohio. And now here's Kobe Weiss, who rather Cole Smith in to attempt the PAT. Warren makes it 21-16 Cincinnati, a 57-yard run for the Truck. They had him bottled up early. He's rolling here in this third quarter.
Ferguson, the former basketball player, showing off the nimble feet, the spin move. Gets enough. Warren in the end zone on the ground this time. Bearcats retake the lead.
You're watching the American Conference on ESPN. Nippert Stadium, electric at night, and the Bearcats have retaken the lead in this seesaw game on a brilliant run, a long 57-yard touchdown run by Michael Warren.
Warren goes over 1,000 yards on the season and shows off all the tricks in his bag on this one, because you look, the O-line actually turns a guy loose. Player splits a double team on that right side. Warren shrugs off that tackle, and then on most runs, you've got one player that's unaccounted for that you say, that's the running back's man. Well, in this case, it was number 24, Nick Roberts, the safety. Warren puts a foot in the ground, goes past him, and then his line has the chance to get down there. We'll take a look at this again soon. It's a really impressive job by Warren.
Here's the kickoff, and it's bobbled. This has trouble written all over it. Maybe. To the 16. All right, now let's take a look at Warren's fine touchdown run, Mike.
Forgot it's a visual medium, but we got it right here. So you look on the right side. 75 and 78 are actually going to turn that defensive end loose in between them. They're both going for the linebacker, so Warren shrugs it off, and then you see 24 right there. That unaccounted for safety that Warren has to make miss. Every run play has an extra hat. That's the back's man. He makes a miss. The line has the wherewithal to stay with it, keep moving downfield on those zone tracks, and the rest is history.
Ola Duncan takes the snap and hands to Ford, and he's got a couple. Well, tonight, each time that Cincinnati has taken the lead, Mike, the Bulls have been able to respond. They've answered each time.
And we still see Oladokin in at this point. I really thought Brett Keane looked more comfortable of the two, but Sterling Gilbert, the offensive coordinator, said we'd see both, said there wouldn't really be a set plan, as we see Mitchell Wilcox, the tight end, hobbling off a little bit there. Something to keep an eye on. A really productive player for them.
By the way, you saw Jarrell White in on that play as well. Good to see him back on the field for UC. He was injured on their last possession. Big trouble and a sack inside the 5. Ola Duncan goes down at the feet of Wright and Fitz.
And you see Eric Mays there shaking his head. A bit of confusion. The defensive line, you're going to see them stem late right here into this front. And some confusion there. The left guard, Demetrius Harris, slides down. Between him and Mays, one of them not picking up the defensive tackle. You give a free runner right there. And then Kimoni Fitz able to finish it off. Backed up again. This is way too familiar territory. 3rd and a mile for your backup quarterbacks ain't the move.
Third and 23. Ford got out to the 25-yard line, nearly got it, and nearly a horse collar that brought him down, and just shy of the first down.
This is the second one of these, as Ford now with a little bit of a limp going off the field. This is the second one of these that he almost popped on 3rd and a mile, just running a draw play to get out of the shadow of your own end zone. Pressure coming from Cincinnati. He skirted through. But this is what Johnny Ford offers you. That big playability, able to make guys miss in the open field. We were talking to Charlie Strong. He said he gets a look at a guy in the open field, and it's a show.
Schneider to kick it away to Alden again. His sneakers are almost as bright as yours, Mr. Golick. 4th down and 1.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
Now becomes 4th and 6.
You've seen and heard Coach Strong say it time and time again after these games as his team continues to take penalties. This isn't who we are. Well, at this point in the season, 118th coming into this game in the country for penalty yards per game. This is their identity. It's part of who they are, and it's a part that is absolutely killing them.
Schneider kicks to Alden. He called for a fair catch and then got clipped. Penalty flags are thrown. Another penalty on USF. This one will be for fair catch interference. Now, in defense of the guys covering the punt, it was somewhat of a late fair catch signal by Alden.
Kick catch interference. Kicking team, number 1. 15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
That's Chris Barr with that kick catch interference. And you see a pretty haphazard fair catch signal there. You can understand, but even if he wasn't fair catching it, he's got to have a chance to field the ball. With or without that fair catch, if he runs into him, that's still a penalty.
So another Bulls penalty sets Cincinnati up on the 37-yard line, already leading by 5 as we come to the midway point of this third quarter.
Alert, alert, they're flipping the play to the other side.
Ritter to throw it on first down, and a deep shot. He underthrew it, but a flag is thrown as Mike Hampton got all over Khalil Lewis on the play, and a clear pass interference penalty on the sophomore corner.
Pass interference. Defense number 7. 15-yard penalty. Automatic. First down.
Love this call from Mike Denbrock, the offensive coordinator for Cincinnati. You've got your best receiver on the team, one-on-one on the outside with Mike Hampton. You've got the ball in your opponent's territory yet again. Go for the jugular. A shot play right now. Finally, we've seen that back and forth all night. A chance to get and pile on a second score would be huge. And now you give your offense that penalty. Another first down. Keep moving the chains.
That's 3 plays in a row that USF has committed a penalty, you'll recall. A delay of game on the punt, a fair catch interference, and now a pass interference. No flag this time, but Warren gets ahead for about 2. Kevin Kegler making the tackle for USF.
And after that Warren touchdown run, USF back again, loading up that box, trying to get an extra defender around the line of scrimmage to make sure that's not what's going to beat them. They're comfortable trying to make Desmond Ritter do this through the air.
Ritter flips it to Lewis at the 15-yard line. It'll bring up a very makeable 3rd down and 2. That was Khalid McGee from Miami Northwestern on the play defensively.
And those were the balls that were sailing earlier on Desmond Ritter to start this game. Some of them going a little high. That one certainly up only where his guy was going to get it, but dropping it right in that zone window, giving his team a 3rd and manageable.
In the red zone, Ritter to the air again. He flips it over to Warren. Warren in space. Has the first down. Stays on his feet. Driving inside the 3 and down to the 2. Warren nearly got in, but he showed a lot of heart once more for this young man from Toledo.
Look at him trucking in just short, extends that arm. Dangerous play. That's one Bill Belichick and the Patriots, we know, coach you not to reach out for fear of that fumble. In that, we're going to have a chance right down here as Warren quiets the crowd. I wonder who's getting the ball right here.
Warren in the Wildcat. Direct snap to him. Runs up the gut. Touchdown, Cincinnati.
Offside. Defense number 19. A penalty is declined.
Warren has gone over 1,000 yards tonight. He's run for 2. He has a touchdown reception, and the Bearcats have their biggest lead of the night on the Warren touchdown run.
And I tell you what, Warren got in the end zone. Warren's going to be the story. There were a couple of plays from DeGuara on that drive, including the touchdown, that are highlight reel plays that Mike Denbrock's going to love showing his team. on film this coming week.
South Florida had the lead at the half, but this man has scored 2 touchdowns in the third quarter. Michael Warren, on a big night, has the Bearcats back on top. Cincinnati bidding for a 9-1 start to its season, trailed at the half, but has scored twice to start this third quarter. Now leads 28-16. Let's take a look at these last couple of plays that led to the touchdown. Some interesting stuff for number 3, Mr. Warren.
Michael Warren's going to get the yards and going to get the touchdowns, but that drive belongs just as much to the tight end, Josiah DeGuara, and some of the big plays that he made on there you're going to see.
Bentley Sanders on the 6. Bentley Sanders to the 28-yard line.
We got a truck, a Ford, and a Bentley. It's a hell of a night. I know which one I'm picking. So here's the play right before the touchdown that we saw. And you see DeGuara come into motion right here. The guy comes with him. It's man coverage. And what he's going to do is he's going to take that guy down inside and then pick the linebacker, Greg Reeves, right there. Create an easy path for Michael Warren to get the football. The extra effort all belongs to Warren, but that initial opening in the route belongs to DeGuara. And then you watch DeGuara here finishing the block, the same play they went to on that 4th and 1 in the first half.
Here's a quick throw out to the 32-yard line. All right, you said pick the linebacker, whether you're picking him or rubbing him. Legal play?
In real time, I was ready to throw the flag. Seeing it on the replay, you can understand why the refs maybe thought that was a bang-bang play. And I betray my offensive brethren. We call that a rub route. The defense calls it a pick route.
Play, exactly. USF going tempo now. That's Bronson, who had the tremendous catch in the opening minutes of this game for USF. That moves the sticks. This is the biggest deficit of the night for the Bulls, down 12, but they're going quick now here with Oladokin at QB.
And that's one that mimics an outside run. You saw more great blocking from a tight end. Mitchell Wilcox doing his part.
Cronkright, nothing doing inside. It'll be a half a loss yard on the play.
And you've got the senior, Marquise Copeland, who's been described by this coaching staff as the most consistent guy on this defense. And their 2 D tackles, Copeland and Cortez Broughton, are erasers. They can cover up mistakes for the back end of this defense because of how well they play. And going up against the freshman Brad Cecil, that's a mismatch all night.
Cecil's the freshman center out of Jacksonville, going up against the very talented senior out of Georgia. Another big hit. That's a loss of 5. Back to the 40-yard line. Brian Wright, another sack.
We showed you the pressure earlier. Those 2 linebackers coming South Florida have been doing a good job with. This one now stemming down there, and this is a green dog there. He's got the running back man-to-man. He sees that guy stay in coverage, and so Wright's free to go in on the blitz, and he comes late there and makes a great play.
3rd and 15. And a big play to the right sideline for St. Felix. He's got the first down ahead of the 35-yard line.
St. Felix going to work on Kobe Bryant. Felix, who missed the game last week, making a hell of an extra effort play. Bryant comes up here, sells out, trying to make a play on the ball. Doesn't get any of the man, and a pivotal first down pickup for the way this game had been trending. Really starting to work the tempo like you mentioned, Bill. And this is something the coaches all said both these backup quarterbacks were comfortable with, running this offense the way it's intended to be.
Second down from the 35. A fake short and a throw to the tight end, bobbled and caught. Gain of about 8 yards. Wilcox had it hit him in the hands. It popped up, and then he was able to regroup and catch it.
We'd seen the last couple of those wide receiver screens out to the outside stop. So what do? Pump fake and then have the blocker skirt right past him downfield.
On 3rd and short, they don't get it. It'll be 4th down and 1 here late in the third quarter.
And there he is, the senior Cortez Broughton. Guy who's flashed all sorts of ability, but finally is marrying consistency with it this year. They said he's become a consistent practice player, not just a big play guy in games.
On 4th down, do they get it? It's going to be mighty close, but they do have the first down. A big 3rd down conversion, and now a big 4th down conversion for USF on the road in a huge November game on a chilly night.
And Eric Mays, the left tackle, had just gotten beat by Broughton. Comes back and makes a hell of a play on this one to give him a much needed 4th down.
From the 25. This will be the 10th play of this drive. They fake the handoff to Ford. A throw to the left. It is caught. Touchdown. A great grab by McCants, who climbed the ladder and hauled it in. Touchdown for the Bulls. A great catch by the senior McCants.
All the way around. You see Oladokin step up in the pocket, and McCants, who we mentioned, 5'11", 240, but great ball skills. This is a guy who is all over the record books here at South Florida. Came into this one 3rd all-time in touchdowns and just adding to his resume with another great individual effort play from a South Florida receiver. We started the game with that, and now we pick up here in the 3rd quarter with a much-needed play for them.
Down by 6. Weiss in to attempt an extra point that would cut it to 5. And the kick's good. 28-23. A leaping catch for Tyree McCants from Niceville, Florida.
Big man making big plays. We were wondering when we were going to get him over involved in this game. Look no further, and Oladokin loving what he's seeing.
Okay. South Florida making a rally. 28-23 here in the 3rd. And Tyree McCants, his 16th career touchdown reception. He had to jump to catch that one. Made a heck of a play.
You see him, and he looks like a bowling ball. It looks like a fullback playing slot receiver for him. But you go through this guy's career highlights are impressive. Tons of athleticism, and he put it on display on that catch, going and making a great jump ball play.
Another short kickoff, and it's muffed. And the return man to the 24-yard line. Charles McClellan gets it out to the 25. Well, kick off your Week 10 NFL Sunday with ESPN tomorrow at 10 Eastern. Sam and the guys have the early breaking stories, injury updates, and a preview of every game right up to kickoff. And our Monday Night Football matchup, Odell Beckham Jr., Saquon Barkley, and the Giants on the West Coast to take on the 49ers. The coverage begins at 6 p.m. with Monday Night Countdown served by Applebee's. The kickoff is set at 8:15 Eastern.
Expect some pressure here to start the drive.
Ritter comes out throwing a deep shot, and he's got his man. That's a first down throw to Medeiros, and here come the Bearcats.
Ronnie Hoggins there in coverage that time, and a perfect ball puts it right out over his shoulder. Great protection up front. A nice job by Charles McClellan. The scat back coming in and doing a great job. That corner fire coming off the right side of their line.
43 yards on first down. They keep it on the ground now, down to the 32-yard line.
Just runs right by him at that point. Hoggins with his feet trying to stand still. Again, a guy who is a great player for this team, but we've seen get burned on a couple of occasions now.
On second down, Ritter to the air again. McCants the catch, and McCants brings it inside the 1. Two big pass plays from Desmond River to Rashad Medeiros.
Saw him split those two safeties, and now I'd expect a healthy diet of Michael Warren up the gut here. We've seen them motion Desmond Ritter out of the backfield a couple of times down by the goal line. Similar looking set right now with the two tight ends on the right-hand side of the formation.
Ball on the 1-yard line. Warren, another one. His 4th touchdown of the night.
Lot of chatter right now. This game is getting chippy as the Bearcats waste no time in answering, and a great job up front. You've got them on their heels. You just made a big play. Put it in the hands of your offensive line. Trout the left guard, Robinson the center, working well in combination. Trout, we'll see, get a piece of the linebacker.
Boy, they go 75 yards in a hurry, don't they? The two big pass plays from Ritter to Medeiros, and then the touchdown run by Michael Warren.
And you look at the play that set it all up on the touchdown. Watch number 10, Charles McClellan there. You've got 4 rushers with the 5th inserting off the right side. Oh, mixed play up. 4 down rushers there. That's an easy one, just splitting the safeties there. Was thinking of the play before. That one, much easier. A clean pocket there for your quarterback. Able to get it. Medeiros with a couple of big plays on that drive to get them down in manageable range. And then right here, watch Trout, the left guard, gets a piece of that linebacker and gives Warren a wide open lane to the end zone. Big play offense for Cincinnati now. And this was something that South Florida said coming into the game. They wanted to limit their goal board in the defensive meeting room for them. It says limit the opposing team to 5 explosive plays. We're seeing that number start to add up a bit for the Bearcats as they take a lead.
4 on the night. And the fair catch called for by
number 15, the receiving team.
Phillips.
Giving valid fair catch signal.
A touchback.
The ball be placed at the 25-yard line, first and 10, USF.
Well, it has been a big third quarter for Warren. He scored 3 touchdowns, and the Bulls going to have to respond once again. Every time tonight they've answered the call, they've answered the bell, but now they find themselves down 12 once more. And both quarterbacks have really answered the bell. I said after the first half, I thought Brett Keane had looked the most comfortable, but Chris Oladokun has come in the second half and taken all of the snaps so far through the third quarters. We've got about 30 seconds left in that quarter. He's looked poised, stepping up in the pocket, had the big touchdown throw to McCants. He's had both of their big passing plays. Oladokun on first down, incomplete. Through the hands of St. Felix.
Starting to mix in some of these intermediate throws on the perimeter out of those bunch sets. Throwing it out there for those glorified runs, essentially, where you get a couple of blockers in front, but we saw that pump and go wrinkle off it. And now they're a bunch look where you've got a guy folding late to the middle of the field.
Second down, another throw. Another sack. Back on the 18-yard line. Michael Pitts.
And when
the fourth sack of the night, Mike.
And when you've got a quarterback you know can use his legs, the term D linemen use all the time is closing the net. You see these guys get out of position, but they all keep the quarterback in the middle of that circle, and they just get tighter and tighter as he starts to dance around and get uncomfortable. And for a guy who hasn't taken a lot of snaps, that pocket presence is one of the most difficult things to replicate in practice.
The sack ends the third quarter. Cincinnati's won 2 in a row. They'll try to make it 3 in a row as we head to the fourth. Well, USF trailing as we go to quarter number 4 tonight here at Nippert Stadium, but that's not an unfamiliar place for Charlie Strong and his team. They trailed Georgia Tech by 10 going to the fourth, rallied to win. Same story at Illinois. They were down 19-7 and won. At Tulsa, they were down 14 going to the fourth quarter, Mike, and outscored The Hurricane 15-zip the win. So here they are again, trailing going to the fourth. What will it take tonight to win?
Well, usually in those games, it's been a steady diet of Blake Barnett. His big numbers in those fourth quarters have been a huge reason why they've outscored opponents 54-7 in the fourth quarter during those wins.
But tonight it will be Oladokin. His first pass of the fourth quarter is incomplete, and it'll set up a USF punt. There's Barnett. He's in the green sweats tonight. They really had hoped he would be able to go tonight, but he was so banged up after the last couple of games.
Cold night's going to be tough to try and loosen anything up that might be ailing you. And getting a good look at these two backups, that one of whom could very easily is going to have to be the starter next year. Blake Barnett, the graduate transfer.
So you kind of saw what the comeback story was for USF this year. What about for the Bearcats after a really tough 2017? Boy, they had a dynamite year this year. Best start since the 2009 season here for Coach Fickell. They had 4 come from behind wins, including at the Rose Bowl to open the season. And their defense, which really struggled last year, has been so good this year. They're 6th in scoring defense. They're 5th in the country in total defense coming into the ball game tonight, and that's what Coach Fickell had hoped to see this year, some real growth of his program. On first down, ahead to the 38-yard line. McClellan, a strong run. He's the other guy in the backfield for the Bearcats. But you can definitely see the growth of the UC program.
Absolutely. I think offensive coordinator Mike Denbrock put it best. At some point this offseason, the guys stopped resisting. I've been through a coaching change. I came to Notre Dame under Charlie Weiss and left under Brian Kelly. It's hard, but you need buy-in from the senior leaders on this team, and that's exactly who Luke Fickell pointed to and said, we're going to need to be a program that seniors play well if we want to have this kind of success. And defensively, Cortez Brotland, Marquise Copeland, Kimoni Fitz, these have been the guys that have been leaders for them all year and really helped turn this thing around.
The reception by Jason Jackson brings the ball to the 28-yard line. Ritter has the ball slip out of his hands. It is ruled initially a fumble, and it's USF ball. Josh Black making the play. Cincinnati hopes on review that this will be a forward pass, but we will get a good look at it from up here. It was ruled on the field a fumble.
This one looks pretty clear to call a fumble. Ball just slips right out of his hand here, and usually if you get it going forward at all, they'll give you the benefit of the doubt. But that thing breaks free. A cold night, that ball gets a little harder, a little tougher to handle, and you just see it get away from Desmond Rutter. And everything had been going right for Cincinnati. What a poorly timed turnover for an offense that we've seen. There's enough big playability in here. The last thing you want to do is continue to give this USF squad life.
Yeah, the Cincinnati was looking for maybe the knockout punch, but now the Bulls have the ball back and a chance to make something happen. And they start with Conkright, the former Gator, running ahead to the 41-yard line on first down. That was Malik Clement again with the tackle for the University of Cincinnati. Fancy footwork. Oladokin, though, finally brought down back at the original line of scrimmage. He did well to get away from Michael Pitts.
Two guys out-athleting each other on that. I was all ready to hype up Michael Pitts for having the wherewithal coming off the edge there to stay on that high hip of the quarterback. So many guys coming off that'll get underneath, crash down too hard to make a play. And Oladokin goes ahead and gives him the okey doke.
That he did. Third down on this chilly night. Temperatures in the 20s here at Nippert Stadium. Oladokin, pass batted down right at the line of scrimmage once again by Malik Clements.
What a great play by Clements right there. He's coming on the blitz, and in so many of these offenses, the sack numbers become irrelevant because the ball comes out so quick. What does Clements do? He looks at the quarterback. He says, all right, I see his eyes over this way. I'm going to sit, wait, time my jump, and make a heady play. The senior out of Danville, Virginia, converted safety. The coach has said if you were giving out the award, probably would have been the MVP for them during the spring, and shows why there.
Schneider to punt it away. Cincinnati on the alert for the fake, but the punt is off the right foot of Schneider. Fair catch called for and taken inside the 15 by Knight. That'll send us to a break. Early in the fourth, the Bearcats lead 35-23.
Military appreciation means the world to me. For all the men and women out there putting their lives on the line each day for us to live here in freedom, it speaks volumes to me and my family, and especially my brother, my older brother, Daytwan. He joined the Air Force right out of high school.
This is the week we honor all of America's heroes who have served and are currently serving in our nation's armed services throughout the world, and here at Nippert Stadium tonight. A chilly Nippert Stadium. Bill Roth, Mike Golick with you tonight. Temperatures in the mid-20s now here on this Saturday night. Cincinnati with the ball on first down, and they go straight with the Wildcat again on first down. Usually that's around the goal line, but here they snap it right to Warren in their own end of the field.
Got a player down for South Florida right now too. Can't quite see the number.
Boy, this USF team has been decimated by injuries. On defense all year, on offense with their quarterback tonight. And that is Kelvin Pinckney from Booker High School down in beautiful Sarasota, Florida.
91% of this South Florida roster from the state of Florida. Easy to recruit with this kind of athletes all within the border of the state, but we know there's a lot of competition, including that UCF team that they're getting ready to see down the stretch of the season, both of these squads.
Second down and 6. Ritter makes a man miss. Look at that nifty move. First down for UC. Oh boy, that's a basketball break your ankles move, isn't it?
Good night, Ronnie Hoggins. Again, we've been calling his name, unfortunately, for some less than stellar reasons tonight. Desmond Ritter absolutely gives him the Euro step on that one. Sits him down real quick. Thank God he didn't fall on his own. A film roasting session is in Ronnie Hoggins' future, unfortunately.
Yeah, they'll be watching that tomorrow morning at both film rooms. That's through the hands of the intended receiver, DeGuerra, on this play on the near side. And it'll bring up a second down. Nick Roberts had the coverage on the play.
Ritter with his feet has really, I think, been the difference in this game. 13 rushes for 53 yards and in some really timely spots to get this defense off balance a bit. You see a lot of guys down by the line of scrimmage. Giving up the kind of rushing yardage they have in recent weeks, you can understand why.
Ritter flips it out, and that'll be a, well, 2-yard gain on the play. Out to about the 30-yard line. That was Bentley Sanders again making the play defensively on Rawlins. And it'll bring up about a 3rd down and 7.
And everything's going out towards the sideline right now for Ritter. We're seeing a lot of outbreaking routes.
Sorry, buddy. Sanders goes down after the play. The strong safety. Sanders goes down. We'll give you the update on him in just a moment. Well, back in Cincinnati, let's watch what just happened with the freshman safety Bentley Sanders, who made the tackle on this play. Now watch closely what happens, Mike. Take us through it. What happened to his hand here, and what did they tell him to do from the bench?
Yeah, so a lot of people get bent out of shape now in college football. They think guys, fake injury to try and slow an offense down. But in this case, if something's wrong with him and you want to have time to substitute properly, he's going to have to come out for a play. You see them over there buddy taping those fingers up. Clearly something happened there. Get down, give them time to substitute somebody in there and do this in a timely fashion.
Especially before a big 3rd down play. 3rd and 6 for Desmond Ritter and his UC Bearcats.
3-down look. I'd expect some pressure, especially with Greg Reeves hipped on the bottom of the formation there. Got him covered by the safety.
Here comes the heat. Ritter gets it away, and it's incomplete. Good pressure put on there through the hands of Warren.
Bobbling that one. Sometimes that's all the pressure's got to do is just get close enough to force an errant throw. And we mentioned earlier in the game, Michael Warren had his first receiving touchdown on the year. Came into this game with 19 receptions for 168 yards. So been used enough in that, but not the area he's most well known for.
Punt is away, or is it?
Prior to the snap, delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
James Smith took too long to get it away, so he'll have to re-kick it to Tyree McCants.
Didn't get too far into that return, thankfully, because usually re-kicks in a punt situation, if you've had guys run down too far, can end up busting some big returns.
Tremendously high kick, and McCants calls for, takes the fair catch back near the 21-yard line. Well, Tuesday on ESPN, we'll have the exclusive reveal of the next college football playoff top 25 rankings at 7 p.m. Eastern, presented by Goodyear. Reese and the guys will break them down from top to bottom, with coaches' reactions as well as live interviews with committee chairman Rob Mullins. You can catch it live on the ESPN app from anywhere. Let's take a look at this week's college football playoff rankings, brought to you by PlayStation 4. As of now, Bama won, Clemson's in a tight one, and as we saw earlier, Oklahoma survived Bedlam at the end.
Really hectic game. A lot of what we're getting here, been a lot of back and forth all night for these two teams that both want a shot at last year's national champion.
That ball is dropped. Incomplete.
You're not going to take my UCF bait on that one, Bill?
Yeah, let's go back and look at this again.
You look at this list right here, Oklahoma, we mentioned, surviving a scare in Bedlam. Georgia up comfortably. That's the interesting conversation right now between Georgia and Michigan. Michigan, who got a win over Rutgers that I think we all could have seen coming. But that 4-5 distinction seems razor thin right now for a committee that could have an interesting situation on their hands if Georgia raises some hell and manages to take down the Tide in that SEC title game.
Or if Coach Adazio and his BC Eagles can knock off Clemson tonight. Second down counterplay. Here goes Ford, who's had a good game statistically. He's out to the 30-yard line.
Running back like Ford, tailor-made for that sort of sprint draw. Get everyone running out in one direction and then sprint back another. It looks like Jarrell White down again. We saw him on the ground, unfortunately, earlier in the game, already stepping in for the injured Perry Young.
White was injured earlier in the game, you might recall. It's been a very physical football game here. All right, now let's take a look at our championship drive update. It's brought to you by Dr. Pepper. Mike Golick's predictions. He's not on the committee. At least not yet. Someday you may be in that meeting room in Dallas because you've been through it. You went through the mock selections, right?
Went through the mock selections. Myself and Jason Fitz actually host a rankings reaction show you guys can see on Twitter through ESPN every week. And so we're reacting to this just like Herbie and the guys. And coming off this weekend, that's about what I expect, provided, like you said, Clemson, who's in a tight one right now. College game day out at Chestnut Hill. Boston College, great along the lines of scrimmage. Could have something to say before the night's over.
Third down for USF. They've got to convert here. Ford on 3rd and 3 is stopped. And it's going to be 4th down with just under 10 minutes to play.
And you're down 2 scores right now, but you've got plenty of time. To me, I don't think you need to get desperate and go for it right now. But that offense staying on the field for South Florida. Charlie Strong going to try to send a message on his team to his team. I just wonder if it's a little bit too early to try and gamble for a yard so deep in your own territory.
They bring Conkright in, replacing Ford as the lone running back. Oladokin on 4th and 1, dives, and they'll spot it very near the 32, but he had to get across it by an inch or two. He did. First down. Oladokin 6'2", he needed all of it to make that play.
Had him dead to rights in the backfield. Just an outstanding individual effort play by the backup that's got plenty of looks tonight. Able to juke Malik Clements.
Conkright on first down gets a few. Kamani Fitz again, the tackle for Cincinnati.
You keep an eye on a play like that in a 2-score game with 9 minutes left now. Could be the difference.
Oladokin's got a man wide open left sideline. That's McCants. Incomplete. That was Cam Jeffries that got in there. Still should have had it though, Mike.
Still should have, but a great play by Jeffries. The transfer from Bowling Green took 21 credit hours over the course of this summer to graduate early in 3 years. Making graduate level plays like that for the Bearcats too. Cincinnati loves this middle pressure look right here. That double A gap look you see Mike Zimmer run all the time.
On 3rd down, that pass is incomplete. Intended for Bronson, and Wiggins had the coverage on the play once more. It's 4th down, but I think this time they're going to punt it away on 4th and 6.
A little bit easier of a call right here. And on that last look, you saw those linebackers mugged up with the line, and all it does is create some indecision because they can bluff out like you saw there. You can send one, you can send both, you can twist those linebackers. There's so many possibilities that the quarterback already starts speeding up that clock in his head. Easy short coverage.
Schneider kicking it tonight, goes out of bounds. Cincinnati will have the ball when we come back to Nippert Stadium.
ESPN College Football is presented by Ice Cold Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville, and in part by McDonald's.
That's Lucy, UC's living Bearcat mascot. It's one of 5 housed at the Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Garden. It's got the body and short legs like a bear and whiskers and a long tail like a cat. And the name is derived from the natives of Southeast Asia. That's Lucy on the right and Rocky on the left, the USF mascot, who I don't know what their plans are for later, but nonetheless, there are 5 Bearcats at the local zoo here.
Bill, I'm going to be honest, that mask, by the way, not movie quality, which is okay, but I had never actually seen a live Bearcat before. That is terrifying and adorable at the same time. I'm not sure if I am scared and ready to run away or want to ask it for a hug, but either way, it truly lives up to the name in a way I wasn't prepared for.
Wow. We had hoped to get some, cuddling time for you and Lucy at the zoo, but she was not interested. In fact, it's against the rules to have any type of human contact other than the professionals there who take care of Lucy and her Bearcat mates.
Understandable. With a name like Bear and Cat mixed together, I figure it's something that's probably left best to the professionals.
I imagine on a night like tonight in Cincinnati, the Bearcats are inside their den. Climate control. Temperatures in the 20s. Cincinnati faces a 3rd and 3 coming up with 7:30 to play in the 4th quarter. Looking for its 9th win of the season under Luke Fickell. And to stay in the hunt for the American East title. Here goes Ritter on the run, and he's got the first down ahead of the 48.
Ritter giving him just enough to think about with that stutter step right there. Has done a great job tonight of cutting back on some of these wide runs. Really continues to be the story for this offense, as now with about 7 minutes left, you're not all the way in milk the clock mode, but 4-minute offense, what we always talk about, trying to just stay on the ground, stay in bounds, make sure you're bleeding as much of this clock as possible, snapping it late into the play clock, all of these things that are part of great situational football to try and close out this game.
They run for over 200 yards now, and you can imagine they will keep it on the ground again. Here's Warren. Warren, who's had a very big second half. He's got 4 touchdowns tonight. They'll be leaning on him the rest of the way. Here's what's coming up for the Bearcats now down the stretch. Next week, a big one with UCF. It could be for first place in the division. And then Thanksgiving Friday against ECU.
UCF, who got past Navy today in a game where Navy had to bounce back. I think Cincinnati put a lot of people on notice with that score. The triple option Navy, I understand they're not having a great season, 2-8 now, but it's still a daunting offense to try and have to face. 42-0 and really no semblance of a scoring threat. Desmond Ritter motioning out again for a Warren run.
Warren slung down. It'll be about a loss of 2 yards on the play. That was Brandon Boyce. Started at St. Thomas Aquinas High School in Fort Lauderdale, then went to Duke, and now has transferred to USF. It's amazing how many St. Thomas Aquinas Raiders you see. Seemingly every game, there's a St. Thomas alum these days.
A St. Thomas alum on almost every Florida team that you'll see in college football. One of the premier high schools in Florida, Miami Northwestern in that same category. Lots of talent to draw on for the future and for a young team in South Florida that we know has bright days ahead of them, even if right now they may be hitting a rough patch here.
No gain on the play for Ritter, but he runs the clock. It'll be under 5 minutes now before UC snaps the ball on this third down play, leading 35-23. And for Luke Fickell, he likes to recruit in the what he calls the state of Cincinnati, a 300-mile radius of this campus.
Every coach we heard echoed the 300 miles, and that's the beauty of this area. We've talked so much about Florida, but Ohio has always had some quality football. When you think Cincinnati and that greater Catholic League, when you think Youngstown and the football hotbed that's always been for players and coaches.
Aguera stays in bounds, diving for the first down. He had to get to the 33-yard line, and he did it again. A true effort guy, Josiah Aguera.
He has shown up in so many ways for them tonight. But how about this? The wherewithal to make sure he's leaning, staying in bounds, but gets that tightrope walk, and just from the strength, the big body, getting a first down, and that's deflating for a defense as the clock continues to run. You flip field position, and now you can lean on Michael Warren in the fourth quarter for a defense that looks like that may have just been the final body blow before the knockout that's coming.
On first down, here comes Warren. No gain on the play, but it'll be close to 3:10 when they snap the ball on second down.
USF takes their first charge out of the half.
USF's going to call timeout. All right, let's look at these standings again and explain exactly what's coming up, because if Cincinnati holds on and wins this game, the game next week in Orlando is for first place.
It is for first place. If they were able to beat UCF in that one, they would own the tiebreaker against them. And then the tricky part becomes Temple, who sits there with one loss as well, who's up right now tonight, and who owns that head-to-head win against Cincinnati. And again, we were talking to this coaching staff, Luke Fickell and company. They refused to let their players put their heads down after that Temple loss. They went out there and thought they played really well in that game. And it was one of those that we often hear the phrase in football, sometimes you get the bear, sometimes the bear gets you, and that was just one of those nights for them. So they were not discouraged by that loss at all, but could factor prominently down the stretch.
Entering today, the ESPN.com FPI best chance to win this league was the Knights at 63% and Houston at 16%. Another good play by USF. They're going to call another quick timeout. Can't take them with you. They're down 2 scores with 3:34 to go, so the Bulls will take
their second
timeout again.
Out of the half. Timeout on the field.
We'll step aside. Cincinnati 3:34 away from its 9th win. Welcome back to the ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Dr. Pepper. The Nippert night, Nippert Stadium, and the Cincinnati Bearcats trailed at halftime, but they rallied behind their tremendous tailback Michael Warren. 3 second-half touchdowns. They lead it now 35-23. Face a 3rd and 13 now on the Bulls' 35-yard line. And Des Ridder to throw and now to run. And he slides near the 30-yard line.
Wow.
And he got hit, and there's the flag. That'll give him an automatic first down. That was Khalid McGee that came in as Ridder gave himself up on the slide, Mike.
Smart play by Ridder to get down, going towards the sideline, and even smarter play to just tuck and run to begin with if it's not there.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness with targeting. Defense number 2. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down. The previous play is under review.
So it's a targeting call on McGee as well. Here with 3:24 to go. If this play stands, he'll be ineligible for the first half of next week's game too.
I'd like to see it from the other angle. If he catches him in the head right here, just an ill-advised play to go after at all. It wasn't like that slide came late or wasn't expected. You saw Ridder slowing down, and these are the plays. This will be the angle right here. They shouldn't, because I don't think that blow to the head looks forcible. But going with the crown of your helmet towards the head of the quarterback, I'd be shocked. I think that call is going to stand. And it's a huge implication late in this game to get thrown out. Now he's going to have to miss the first half of his next game. For a defense that can't afford to lose more bodies.
Yeah, Sawtell is already out. And McGee plays the will linebacker spot right next to him. One of their leading tacklers. That's the last thing that Charlie Strong needs.
You know what it is, Bill? It's a bad call. I don't think in that situation there's enough force behind that where we would think it's targeting, but when you're going towards the head of the quarterback, and just an ill-advised play, he's going down right there. You're going to get the ball back at that point. He doesn't have the yardage to make a first. Why even put yourself in that scenario? Why give the refs an opportunity to make a call that can have you off the field?
After further review, there is no foul for targeting. However, the unnecessary roughness penalty shall be enforced. Automatic first down.
So the good news for USF is McGee can stay in this game tonight and can play next week. The bad news is Cincinnati gets a first down out of it.
And you got one timeout left if you're South Florida. This could be ball game here, especially if Cincinnati is able to lean on him now and get in the end zone. But glad to see referees, especially in college, they've been officiating that penalty for a while, getting a lot better at being able to discern what's truly targeting under the intent of the rule in a situation like that where they can wave it off and allow a young man to continue his night.
From the 16-yard line, Desmond Ridder and his Bearcats trying to run out the clock. Here comes Warren. He's had a 4-touchdown night, 3 on the ground, 1 through the air, and he gets it down to the 12-yard line.
Number 4, Brady Reeves. On the stop for USF.
Cincinnati can take their time right now and continue to grind it out with Michael Warren, who's, after a slow start, put together another impressive night. 5.5 yards per carry, 3 touchdowns, a touchdown through the air. On the night where he goes over 1,000 yards for the season, becomes the 11,000-yard rusher in Cincinnati Bearcats history.
This will be the 12th play of this drive. Warren gets it again, puts his shoulders down and drives to the 9-yard line. Let's look at this young man's resume tape for the night, because Michael Warren II has had himself an evening.
And these are all identity runs for this offense and plays. When we sat with this coaching staff, we heard over and over again, we want to build this offense and this team around the lines of scrimmage, the dominant run games. And Luke Fickell said Michael Warren is exactly what we're looking to build around. So much so that 2 games into last season, when he started to see what the former Mr. Football from the state of Ohio was capable of, he texted his high school coach simply and said, "Thank you for the kind of young man and football player you sent us."
Warren has it again. Warren runs over a man. He's got the first down to the 1-yard line. The truck went full throttle inside the 5-yard line.
And the perfect nightcap for a game that he has absolutely dominated. New career high, 150 yards rushing. We highlighted him in the beginning of the game, and they stuck with it. You hear this phrase all the time with running backs: I get stronger as the game goes along. Well, you credit that to the offensive line up front, too, staying with them, grinding it out, figuring out some plays that works. They added some things they don't often do, some counter run plays to find some holes. And overall, just kept their faith in a guy that they know is a big-time player for them.
They were trying to milk the clock, but they took too much time before that play. They're asking the Bulls, do they want to take the penalty? And of course, they'll want to push him back 5 yards.
Delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, first down. By rule, a 10-second runoff.
Well, coming up on SportsCenter with Stan and Neil
USF
on ESPN following college football. How much is Tua hurting? A report on Alabama's quarterback. Also, Kirk Herbstreit, Chris Fowler revealed their top 4. Plus Woj and Stephen A. Smith on the Jimmy Butler trade. It is SportsCenter at 1:30 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app.
This is SportsCenter.
That was good.
You think I sit around and watch some ESPN during the day? Company man. Company man. Wow.
First and goal on the 6. Warren gets it to the 5. 50 seconds to play.
Number 4, Greg Reeves made the tackle after a 1-yard gain. It is 2nd and goal at the 5.
That clock bleeding now. Looks like South Florida is going to leave with that timeout in tow, understanding that on this drive they had plenty of chances to shut down this UC rushing attack. And time again, whether it was penalties, whether it was big plays made by Ritter and Warren.
They're going to take a knee here. You know, it's interesting. I think that everyone who's been on the sideline knows, you know what, Warren would love to get a 4th touchdown, but I think Coach Fickell's showing some pretty good sportsmanship there. Run the clock and just take a knee from the deep red here. Cincinnati wins its 3rd straight game. Goes to 9-1 on the season. Coach Fickell in year 2 is 9-1 and is set for a showdown in Orlando a week from today for first place in the East Division of the American.
What an impressive turnaround. Of the teams with 4 or less wins in 2017, only Cincinnati had reached 8 wins in 2018. Stacks at 9th on now and very much alive in that AAC race.
Once again, our final score tonight. Cincinnati 35, USF 23. For Mike Golick Jr., I'm Bill Robb saying good night from Cincinnati. Coming up next, ESPN Goal Line.